Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to go over what I believe could happen after we saw what took place in Venezuela. I'm not going to focus too much of my energy on this topic, but I do want to share what I believe could happen next, like what areas are next to have some type of, I don't want to say regime change, but one could say reshuffle of some kind. All right. So in my auto rights, and what I was getting was that the country of Cuba is going to have a really hard time surviving without Venezuela. Okay. That's what I was feeling. And I'm also getting that Russia is going to step up in some way and help Cuba as much as they can, but I don't know to what capacity or how much they're going to be able to lend a hand to. But it's almost like they're trying to give them to make up what perhaps Venezuela was putting out. I don't know if it was food, I don't know if it's the electrical grid. I'm not sure at this time, but I think that we'll see Russia stepping up and trying to help them in some way. I don't know how, but that's what I'm getting is a helping hand there. The other thing that I was getting, and I don't know how this correlates with Venezuela and Maduro, or if it's just something that's going to happen separate. I have down there's going to be a fracture within the deep, the deep. And some names are going to surface after this happens. It's like there's a crack in the foundation of the deep, and these names start coming out, these letters. And Pelosi was one person, one individual that I saw who is going to be mentioned in 2026 in a significant way. The Clintons as well, and I'm sure you guys are like, well, that's not a shock really, but there's a reason for it. I don't have an explanation to what it is, but there's something that's going to be coming out on those, on especially, well, both, but the man. And another thing I was getting was Bush. No, I don't know which one, which Bush, but I'm hearing Bush. And so I wrote it down. There's going to be something connected to a Bush family member. I'm just going to say that because I don't know which one. I'm just hearing it. It does feel to be business related or connection to maybe Venezuela, but again, I don't know that for sure. There's also going to be leaked documents or information coming out where how do I word this without getting the deep and the C, the 3-letter alphabet. There's going to be information that comes out in regards to working together or something along those lines. And then again, of course, I have issue with Cuba, and this is going to be because Venezuela was really doing a lot to help keep Cuba, whether this is about the D word or providing food, or if they have, I feel like it's connected to a electrical grid. I don't know why that feels more significant than drugs or anything else. It's something to do with their power grid. And that's where I feel like maybe another country will step in. It's strange. I don't know exactly how to put that together. Now, when we get into Venezuela briefly, I was being shown, and what I'm getting is that Venezuela is being used as a warning model. Okay, Trump is using Venezuela to say, hey, I can do this. And he's really wanting to show other countries. Greenland is one of them. Perhaps we could say Cuba, uh, Iran, and a few other countries what he can do. I'm not going to come on here and tell you I agree with it or I don't agree with it. I'm going to keep that to myself, my friends. I need to put this on pause. Okay. So, what we saw with Maduro, and I'm not convinced that what we are seeing is completely true. Now, if he's in the States, so be it. But some of the images that were coming out about people being happy, I don't know, some Venezuelans are ecstatic that he's gone. Was a dictator, of course, I know that. I'm not saying he was a good guy, but I can think of worse that was right here in the United States at one point running our country, okay? Perhaps the three-letter alphabet boys in the deep, that's what we're going to hear about in regards to states. But, so yeah, Venezuela is being used as a role model type thing, as a warning to what he, here in the States, can do if he needs to do it. Again, I'm keeping in my comments to myself. The next major pressure point could be Cuba, because Cuba is really weak right now. It's going to become weaker because of this. But Iran, I'm strongly getting a weakening foundation with the regime there. There's also dissatisfaction rising, and that's on the TV, that's on the news. People are doing that. They've been protesting for about 2 weeks, right? So what I'm getting is that the leadership will be forced into concessions over there. Leadership change will happen through internal revolt, not necessarily an invasion. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we'll see it take place like what we saw with Venezuela, where they were in there attacking on the waters. I don't necessarily get that. Could be something in the airstrike, but I see Iran, I do see regime change coming in 2026 in Iran. I also see Iran being split. So you have the whole country of Iran, and then you have like a piece of it that's torn off that is going to be designated, in my opinion. This is what I'm being shown, allegedly for intent purposes only. There's going to be a piece of Iran that is designated for a organization, and I have down a group. Or it could be used for people that are displaced from a different country, right? That's possible, but it almost feels like an organization, and I don't even want to get into that. Okay. All right, Cuba. I am seeing regime change in Cuba. So Cuba and Iran. Some people say Iran, you know where I'm going with it. Those two countries are top of my list that we will see possibly a regime change take place in 2026. Now, with Cuba, it's more of a collapse. It's not invasion there either. It's more of a collapse. The foundation collapses there and a transition. Now, I almost feel like this needs to happen, even though I know it's going to be hard on the people, but it almost needs to happen over there. Unless another country steps in and can do what Venezuela did, because Venezuela was right there in the waters. They share the same waters, but that's what I'm getting. Excuse me. All right. All right. The next thing I'm seeing is Mexico. There's going to be a lot of cartel, especially now. They are very cautious in certain other areas right now, so they're going to be wanting to use Mexico more. So there's going to be issues with the cartel and the borders. It's going to bring stress into that area. I do see a government reshuffle and more forced restructuring. I don't see an invasion or anything like that. I see a reshuffle going on in the government in Mexico. And then we're going to touch on Turkey just briefly. It's interesting because what I see with Turkey is a test of loyalty in 2026. For some reason, a NATO country, or maybe it's the States here, gets a suspicion that they can't trust Turkey for some reason. Or you know what? Actually, I think it could be Israel. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, it's Israel. I do believe who is maybe talking to Trump or talking to someone in NATO, most likely here in the States, that they need to test Turkey's authority in some way because they're getting mixed information. So I don't see Erdogan going anywhere in 2026. I do see a power struggle and maybe some protesting, but whatever test he is given or the country of Turkey is given, they pass it. Okay, they're fine. I don't know. I think that maybe Israel is like, has suspicions, but they turn out being okay. However, that's in 2026 because Turkey is not going to stay where it is forever. Okay, but we'll get into that later. Pakistan. Pakistan is going to face changes in their government. Military versus civilian tension is what I'm seeing for 2026 for Pakistan. Same with Afghanistan. These countries are facing internal issues, possibly coups, okay? And with Pakistan, I was getting a power shift, but not an actual conflict there either. I don't see a conflict with the United States with Pakistan. They might have some issues with India, but it feels more to be a power shift there as well. So again, regime changes are definitely strong for Cuba for 2026 and Iran. I'm getting that. And it's not through war, it's more through foundation cracks that eventually, because they're under so much pressure, they end up collapsing. That's what I'm getting. And the channeled message I have for Trump, and I wrote this down because I was hearing it and I thought it was kind of, I would share it. So, Trump does not strike the mountain, he removes the stones beneath it. Take it the way you will. Again, you can love the man, you can hate the man. It is not for me to say. I keep my opinions to myself because I live here, right? And I've done a lot of videos on Trump and Biden. I lost a channel over Biden and the war over there in Ukraine and Russia. So I'm very cautious. And right now my energy is more focused in other Western parts of the world. So yeah, that's what I have. Just a little update on what could happen after Venezuela's incident. And again, if you like AI pictures, because I believe that some of what we're seeing is AI. Yeah, but they say he's supposed to show up in court today, Mr. Maduro. So we'll see what happens with him. But you know what's really strange? If you look at Maduro and you compare him to Saddam Hussein, wow, these two dudes, and I feel like maybe even in personality, in their dictatorship feels similar, but I think Saddam may be worse, right? Could be a little bit, would have been harsher. So yeah. All right, guys. If you're new to my channel, please hit the like button, hype the video, share, subscribe, and leave a comment if you want. And if you are a old subscriber, my day ones, I really, really appreciate you staying with me. My newcomers, I love you. Thank you for joining my channel. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Until next time.